with my mother.
So when
and
were you taken away from there?
And this was a 44 March. In May, 20th of May, no, 18th of May, they gathered us together again to the train station. There were cattle trains. And before we went to the cattle trains, one rabbi, a young one, I knew him, he went to the SS to ask permission to take a pillow to his wife. Because
take a what?
he's a pillow, additional, a pillow.
A pillow.
Because his wife will deliver his first baby any minute. The German took down the rifle, hit this rabbi so hard that until his brain was flowing on the floor, front of us, front of his wife. And then I began to vomit because of the nervousity. And then it was only to show us that you can't ask favor, you can't do anything, you have to do what I am telling you to do. And then ordered us to go to the cattle train, 100 people.
You were with your mother and your father,
yes,
and your sister and brothers?
Everybody, yes. And this was for 100 people.
Did you know this was something bad? Did you know that?
This was for me the first time that I saw this rabbi to be killed in front of us. This was a terrible thing. This was the first time. And then we went up to the cattle train, 100 people. We couldn't sit down, we couldn't barely stand on one foot. 3 days, 3 nights.
What did you do if you had to go to the bathroom?
It was everything a terrible. It was something that everybody went on this. It was a terrible
Really?
thing. I never forget that my teacher for my school was also there, and it was a terrible feeling that I have to go to the bathroom in front of him.
Sure.
Anyway, it was Friday evening, and only one candle they lighted, and the women was praying for this one candle. And then my father, he, how do you call it, Friday evening, doesn't matter, but he was crying, he was...
Had you ever seen your father cry before?
Never. This was the first time. My father was 6 foot tall, very strong person, and for my eyes, he was everything. But when I saw him to cry,
you knew.
Then I thought this is the end of the world. Because if my father is crying, and my mother took us, no, we were all together, and she told, you shouldn't forget that my name is Hannah.
You didn't know your mother's name?
My mother's name was Helen, but my Hebrew name is Hannah. In this time, everybody should know, because we don't know what will happen.
In other words, oh my goodness.
And this was a terrible shock
you
for
knew
me.
that meant that she was afraid she might die.
Yes, and then she told something also. Look, I am going to tell you and your sister something that you should never forget. You have to know that the family is to keep the family together. You are not understand what I am trying to tell you, but maybe later you will.
What happened when you arrived in Auschwitz?